This is what should be done by one who is skilled in goodness and who knows the path of peace. Let them be able and upright, straightforward and gentle in speech, humble and not conceited, contented and easily satisfied, unburdened with duties, and frugal in their ways, peaceful and calm and wise and skillful, not proud and demanding in nature. Let them not do the slightest thing that the wise would later reprove, wishing in gladness and in safety, may all beings be happy. Whatever living beings there may be, whether they are weak or strong, or meeting none, the great or the mighty, medium, short or small, the seen and the unseen, those living near and far away, those born and to be born, may all beings be happy. Let none deceive another, or despise any being in any state. Let none through anger or ill will wish harm upon another, even as a mother protects with her life her child, her only child. So with a boundless heart should one cherish all living beings, radiating kindness over the entire world, spreading upwards to the skies and downwards to the depths, outwards and unbounded, free from hatred and ill will, whether standing or walking, seated or lying down, free from drowsiness. One should sustain this recollection. This is said to be the sublime abiding, by not holding to fixed views, the pure-hearted one, having clarity of vision, being freed from all sense desires, is not born again into this world. So you just let me know, Doug, what talk you want to start rolling with. What do you want me to talk about? Anything in particular? Yeah, I can hear you. I believe. Yep. Let me just check with Venerable. Venerable, is it all recorded?
It's being recorded.
Yep, it's being recorded. Okay, so something that we tend to see with many people, especially with their personal experience, the personal experience in daily life and the development of meditation, is one of the key principles which makes people successful in meditation, say in the long term, is the ability to essentially to make the mind quiet, not by force, by insight, and making the mind say quiet and peaceful, with a sense of relaxation and letting go. And so every single one of us, we tend to think far more than we actually need to. And so why is that the case? Why we may be interested in meditation practice, but we can think about 101 things in the space of even several minutes. So how do we actually quieten the mind down and get some peace and some contentment and some ease and a little bit of inner joy in one's life? And So in essence, the amount of energy that one needs to, say, develop the peaceful mind, it's not something which is incredible. You don't need to grit your teeth and really use a lot of force. For mainstream people, the success in meditation, whether you're a beginner or advanced, is the ability to let go of thinking, and that ability to let go comes through insight and wisdom. So you ask yourself, why do we think as much as we do? We don't have to constantly keep thinking and keep the mind busy and getting distracted, and we can't focus and this and that. And so in essence, one needs to understand oneself to a reasonable degree. Why one thinks and one feels the way one does, and because if say for example, if my mind is very busy, but I really don't understand exactly why I do what I do. I will tend to be caught up in that kind of say habitual say behavior or habitual thinking, which in essence can be a complete waste, not always a complete waste of time and energy. Even when I look at myself, probably about 90% of what I think of is doesn't have any real intrinsic value. It's not really that useful. It can lead to distraction, and this is just stuff which comes up. People, events, all sorts of different things, duties and responsibilities. Why do we just why does the mind keep spinning and spinning and keep thinking about this stuff? So in essence, that once we really start to understand oneself, then we begin to slow the gears down. So going from say third gear down to second gear, down to first gear, and we can increase our focus, we can minimize the amount of mental energy that we're actually wasting by entertaining all this stuff inside the mind, which doesn't really go very far, doesn't really get us almost anywhere really. You'll find that once you've got that ability to let go to that point where the mind is just naturally peaceful, you've got the ability to think and analyze and problem solve and look after things. But as soon as your duties, responsibilities are finished, then you just allow the mind to just to wind down and to become say far more peaceful, because you waste far less mental energy. You don't want to keep the mind spinning and spinning and spinning about things which don't really sort of lead anywhere. But easier said than done. But in essence, that something that even with the beginners to intermediate, where you can even the Mahasi method can be quite good. That Vipassana-based approach, where you label thought processes and people and events and times and places, and you start to see the patterns, and you start to see into the things which are going on in one's mind, and that can be a much easier way to slow the mind down. Or you do a little mantra. You can do either a short or long section mantra, maybe every minute of the day. Even I find that quite useful. Just a little mantra every 60 seconds when things are busy. I'm working, and I could be on the phone, or could be doing stuff for my mother and all the rest of it. But in essence, it's like an anchor. So that Mahasi method, which involves more thinking, but it's focused on understanding the nature of one's thoughts and feelings, and then you can start to slowly wind down that excessive thinking, which really doesn't get us very far at all. But that very simple mantra, one little mantra per minute, could be long, could be short, but you'll see it's like an anchor. That little meditation word, it stops the mind from going too far, and you end up sort of like conditioning oneself. So you don't allow the mind to drift too far. It's like a boat on a lake, say with an anchor, and you could have some small currents here and there, but the boat does not go, doesn't go too far because it's restrained by the anchor on the bed, on the bed of the river, and so you're keeping the mind within a certain parameter. And there's other little tricks, there's other little meditations which discourage excessive thinking, like the black color, the darkness meditation, where you just sit in a darkened room. It can be semi-lit, it can be quite fairly dark, and you just gaze into the blackness. You gaze into the darkness, and you focus on that. So you're drawing attention away from thoughts and feelings and the physical body. And once you really develop some skill with that, if you did that every day for a week, you'd probably start to what's the word? You'd probably start to get a little bit impressed with that meditation, because it's you can get very good results quite early. It's very, very neutral. This is the reason why it works so well. You're focusing on like non-thinking. You're focusing on that dark inner space inside the mind, and so some people find that quite useful as well. But in essence, what you're looking at is just slowing the mind down, winding the mind down, and reducing that endless chatter, which essentially it's almost like almost habitual. We've been doing it all our lives, and then you start to you want to meditate, and some people, it can take them a full 12 months to really get any sort of sense of peace at all. But there are little methods, little tricks you can do in order to achieve that. So, but even for myself, I mean, if you do with that darkness meditation, even after a couple of days, they can really start to get quite profound and quite interesting. And Graham from Thailand, I mean, he put me onto that years ago, and because he found Anapanasati a little bit too challenging over the years, and then he just sort of cottoned onto that. He was sitting meditation in the dark there, and he realised, well, if I can't focus on my breathing, maybe I can focus on that dark space in the mind with one's eyes closed, and he got quite good results from what he was telling me over time, and made a big difference with these practice. And I've done it not extensively, but here and there over the last couple of years. And it's probably the easiest meditation I've ever seen for beginners to intermediate, because it's going completely opposite to the current of thinking and proliferation in the mind. Okay, so let me think what kind of meditation we're going to do tonight. Might be good if we do a little bit of compassion for oneself. And you usually find that compassion and kindness and sympathetic joy, they tend to soften the mind a little. They increase the positivity, the energy, a little bit of inner happiness. Because you find that people who have a degree of kindness and compassion, they tend to be more happy than people who are quite selfish and inconsiderate and rude and this and that. Those good qualities tend to be wholesome, wholesome in nature, and they can be a source of they're positive feelings, they're good qualities, and one feels good with that state of mind. When you have a state of, you have a mental state of kindness or compassion, and you feel happy when other people are doing well, or once children are successful with their education, and even on a so like an athletic level. It could be anything whatsoever. So what you're doing is you're focusing on goodness. You're focusing on like higher human qualities in the long run. So initially, what we'll do is we'll do, say, at least several minutes of compassion for oneself, and we'll do it continually, so you can really get some energy going. And then we'll do we'll do the darkness meditation for 5 minutes, and then we'll do the breathing meditation, focusing around the mouth section, which is fairly sharp but comfortable. Won't give you headaches and give you too much tension in the face. So what I would like you to do is just get yourself into a comfortable position, and make sure that your spine and head are upright and comfortable, and make sure you can breathe fully into the chest and close one's eyes. Make sure you just relax all the muscles in the face and close one's eyes. And I want you to choose the meditation mantra. This is like an emotional based mantra. We're going to radiate, say positive feelings, positive, caring, nurturing feelings towards oneself. And so with compassion meditation, it begins with like may I be free from, so may I be free from any kind of, it could be say emotional or physical pain or discomfort. May I be free from maybe worries and concern about my family. May I be free from it could be about could be maybe events in the future. So all of you know your personality quite well, and so you choose the words which are important to you. So starting with may I be such and such, radiating this feeling of care and nurturing and support for one's being, one's nature, one's personality. And because especially with the spiritual path, every single one of us, we have to support oneself, at least to a small degree, because we can't really rely on other people too much. We have to sort of cheer oneself on as one walks this spiritual path for probably at least several lifetimes before we actually make the breakthrough. That's the history of most of the forest masters. A couple of lifetimes. It's not just just doesn't happen in a snap. Okay, so just close your eyes and choose the words which are important to you. May I be such and such. The words have got to have meaning, got to be important. And I want you to do that for the next couple of minutes, and do it continually, silently, in the mind. Say for about 3 minutes. So as one repeats this emotional-based mantra, just be sensitive to the feeling of care and support that one is giving oneself. Okay, so now we'll change the meditation and we'll do the dark colour meditation. So just make sure that the light, you don't have light in your eyes. You naturally may have lights on in the room, but just make sure that there's no light sort of directly on one's face. And I want you to sort of gaze into with eyes closed, I want you to gaze into the darkness and focus on that, the blackness, the black colour that you see in the mind with eyes closed, and use that as your meditation object. You don't have to use any force or excessive energy, just be aware of the lack of light and make that your meditation object. It's like sort of you're gazing in to that black space, that inner space, and we'll do that for the next 5 minutes. Okay, so what we'll do now, we'll move on to the third meditation, and we'll focus on the breathing, just around the mouth section, which is fairly, reasonably sharp focus, but not so sharp that people basically can't follow. You've got lots of sensations around the mouth area, and it makes it very, very clear for people to place their attention. Some people, focusing on this nose tip business, half the people you meet just can't do that. It's too sharp. So focus on the feelings around the mouth. Say for the last say what are we looking at? Say 20 minutes of the session, close to it. We will focus on the breathing, using the mouth as a base, as a point of reference. So as you breathe in through one's nose, you'll feel the breathing, the sensation of breathing, the breathing cycle on the periphery of that area, because it's quite close to the nose tip, on the edge there, and you'll find that it's not that difficult to follow because of the sensation's quite strong. So just focus around the mouth, the lips, and most people don't struggle with their ability to focus their attention there. So make a start with that third meditation, and I'll talk you guys through it as we move along. So as you focus your attention on this area, just try to keep the muscles in the face as relaxed as possible. So as the meditation continues, just make sure you draw your attention to the feeling of the experience at this point, and try to keep a sense of, say, relaxation about any thinking which may be present. What we're looking at is like a relaxation, a letting go of thinking and directing one's mind towards the object that we are using at that point in time. So as this meditation continues, just see if you can notice like a sense of absorption. You're sort of aiming, that's what you're aiming at in the long term, is a sense of like becoming one with the meditation object, absorbing into the meditation object. Try to sort of develop that attitude, because in essence that supports you, it draws your attention onto and into the object you are using for practice. If you feel a bit tired or drowsy, just try to breathe more deeply into the base of the abdomen. Maximize the level of oxygen which is reaching one's brain. So we're coming towards the end of the meditation. So just see if you can see any change in the peacefulness of the mind, because you have to see which objects work for you. People's characters are very different, and you have to see what gets good results for oneself. So I'll ring the gong 3 times, and you can open your eyes when you're ready. So, go on, don't be shy. You can give me. We can talk about anything you want. Lena. What I would do is you've got. There's probably a number of techniques that you can use. But that one, just focusing on the darkness, that one works very, very well for like raw beginners. It's the neutrality. Like say for example the Burmese, the Mahasi method, that Burmese Satipatthana can be quite useful for people, but because we're all so different, you have to see what practice actually works for oneself, and that dark color meditation. I've seen. I've even for myself. You've only got to do that for a couple of on and off, maybe even for 1 or 2 hours total, and then you start to see how it works. And it's the neutrality of it which makes it very easy for beginners. So, but in essence, you have to test. You may have 3 or 4 different types of meditation, and you have to see what works for you. People have different karma, personalities, so you need to see what gets good results for oneself. But I would definitely promote that darkness, that dark color meditation. I've never seen anything which is as easy as that, which can get peaceful so quickly in such a short period of time. Because it's the neutrality of it. Drawing attention away from thoughts and feelings from the physical body. This is the reason why it can be easier than Anapanasati or any kind of repetitive kind of mantra format. It's like if you did that for a solid hour, it's almost like you're almost going into another world. It's really quite interesting. And I think Graham from Thailand, who was part of the group previously at Armadale, I think he must have done Anapanasati for the breathing meditation for well over a couple of years, maybe possibly even 5. 4 or 5, but here he came when he mentioned that. I thought that was just incredibly useful. For any practitioners who need to get the mind peaceful within a sort of like a short time frame, because some people, even with Anapanasati, some people may have to practice for at least 12 months. It's not that easy. It's not that easy. You're still focusing on the physical body. You're focusing on sensations in the physical body, but our mind is attached to this body with all its experiences. Our mind is attached to these five senses which are based in this physical body. So this is the reason why some people can't let go of sort of content of the mind and experiences of the physical body. They just can't let it go. But that dark colour meditation, I've never seen anything which is as effective as that. In the short term. So if you can, try to develop it as a skill. Do it every day for 7 days, and see how it if it works for you. Was there any other comments or questions at all? Could be anything whatsoever. Got any? So in essence, what you're doing is you're not necessarily focusing on the physical body at all. You're not focusing on physical sensations in the body. What you need to put your attention on is that mental space, that dark space, which is a mental experience. It's not. We're not with this meditation. We're not concerned about how the eyes feel or how one's face feels or sensations in the body or feelings so much, general feelings, emotional feelings in the mind. That's not what we're putting our attention on. We're putting our attention on this sort of, maybe, I'm not sure if abstract is the right word, but this neutral, abstract sort of like concept, like it's almost like a perception of darkness, and so you have to sort of feel it out. It's like all these practices. You develop it as a skill, but it's like you're placing one's attention on like a mental state of mind, that spacious blackness in one's mental awareness. No problem at all, Martha. Yep. Yeah, I mean, you can try it. I mean, you have to see, like what works for oneself. If you find that the bottom line is to know, if a meditation object is suitable for you. The two major guidelines: if it brings you peace and it brings you insight, especially peace. That's what people would like to see, say in the early stages. But you need to develop a degree of insight, which you can do actively. But most meditation objects will at least give you a small degree of say like awareness, sharpness of mind, the ability to see into things, into experiences, a better understanding of other people, and so. But in essence, that focusing on the light, you have to it may work for some people. Certain, like I know a Western monk who spent quite a bit of time in Thailand, and he found that that very light blue-green kasina colour. So a blue-green circle of light, coloured light, or coloured disc. This is the way that they explain it with the Visuddhimagga, with the kasina meditation exercises. But he found the blue-green colour. That was something which really drew his attention. So he did that, for probably at least several hours a day for a full 30 days, to see where it would take him. So it is true. There's many different colours of kasina, of coloured discs that you can use, and you can experiment. Most people know there are certain colours which captivate them, which they really, really like, and you can test it. You can make a coloured disc, and you can put the disc, say at least maybe say roughly about 6 feet away, 5 or 6 feet, and you put your just attention on that coloured disc in a very relaxed way, and then once you've got a visual image of the disc, you can close your eyes. You're able to visualize it very, very clearly, and over time you can actually hold that image for at least absolute minimum, say 10 seconds, 20 seconds at a stretch. You've got to have incredible focus to be able to hold an image of these coloured discs for minutes. Can you imagine? Because it draws a lot of mental energy initially. It's particular practice. So you can put it to the test. Some people may be quite successful. Some people may find it, it's really, can give them a little bit of a headache. It takes that much force to, constantly maintain one's attention on these different colours, coloured discs that you can experiment with. Some people might think, maybe the sun, visualising a sun inside the mind, or the moon inside the mind can be quite good. Increases energy. It may be something which is quite natural for them. So each of us have to see what gets say good results. So probably at least say like a couple of weeks. You do a particular practice for a couple of weeks. You should be able to see if you're able to say develop like sharp mindfulness with that object of choice. So, is there any other? I've got another one. Okay, no problem. Okay, any other questions at all? I can't think of anything sort of particularly sort of wild or adventurous. Brilliant. It was a happy crowd. So what do you reckon, Doug? Do you want to sign off, or what would you like to do? G'day. And that disappeared from the screen. Can you repeat it? Repeat the question. What I would tend to do, so for example, if I was overwhelmed with panic, I really need to develop some kind of like emotional intelligence, because it's strong, say like strong emotions. If I start to think in a certain way, and then I develop these feelings of panic and worry and anxiety, the only way I'm going to essentially try to, say, I wouldn't say put a stop to sort of catch it early and nip it in the bud is you've got to focus on the feeling. That's success in one's life and personal experience and meditation and many other areas of one's life. It's about insight into feeling, into emotion. So you think to yourself, well, I mean, why do I feel so worried and anxious and fearful? You really need to understand the triggers. The triggers which sort of set one off, because in essence that you think yourself into. It's the thoughts which come first for the majority of people. So thoughts, generate feelings, which generate more thoughts, which generate like stronger feelings. So, just for example, you start to really think about, you could possibly, maybe one has got a parent or could have a friend who's infected with COVID and they're incredibly sick or they're dying, which is a good reason to be concerned. But it's like if you think if you're thinking in a certain way, and that brings about very uncomfortable, stressful feelings, which are affecting the mind, which are affecting your physical body, and you really have to be careful which way you send your attention. You send your attention out about certain things and certain events. So the bottom line is if you do something, if you think about something, or you place your attention on a particular event or experience or person, and then it gives rise to painful feelings, painful emotions. That because the Buddha said, the Buddha's encouraging the practitioners to be free from suffering. So, if I think in a certain way which is conducive to suffering, to emotional and physical pain in the body, I've got to develop some understanding there, because I'm just hurting myself. It may be quite reasonable. Say for example, one's child is very, really very unwell, very, very sick. They could be in ICU. There could be maybe long-term stay in hospital. So no one's going to underestimate just how intense that kind of personal experience is. But even with mums and dads, you've got to be careful that you can't afford to worry oneself sick. To have very, very strong anxiety, which affects the stomach and one's digestive system, and all the sort of physically induced like traumas what one can go through. But so it's, as a human being, it's very, very natural to feel and worry and care and be concerned. These experiences do have value. They have a degree of maybe safety and protection and it's maybe self-preservation for oneself and for the people that we care for. But you've got to be careful that you don't. You don't get so overly worried and anxious and concerned that you become even physically sick or emotionally traumatized. The Buddha repeatedly said for the disciples of his teaching that you have to, whichever approach that you use to one's life, you have to try to increase your your freedom from suffering in life, regardless of circumstances. It's like this is where success in meditation success and development in insight practice comes through. So, excuse me. And so the bottom line is, no matter what's happening, you've really got to pay attention to that, to that sense of being free from suffering, in a nutshell. And we can talk. Things can be incredibly complicated and demanding and this and that, but that's the bottom line. As a human being, as any being in samsara, to be free from suffering, because that is the path of insight and wisdom. Thank you. Right. Are you sure? Oh, I'm not so sure about... Listen, my mother has made me work harder than any of you guys. I was working for my mother 16 hours a day for 6 weeks straight, then 8 to 9 hours straight for the last 6 weeks. I've never had to work so hard in my life. But seriously. But anyway, she's happy as Larry. She's in a nice facility. That confirmed my intention to die in the robes. Mum, it's amazing. I should bow down. The next time I see my mother at Ajit's Balmoral, I should bow down and kiss her feet for reinforcing my commitment with the path. But seriously, from a very, very young age, from age 15, I was very interested in spiritual practice, very interested in meditation, the sayings of the old Zen masters. And so it was a gradual path from some Western style Zen from age 15, several years, and then Japanese Zen, Chinese Chan, Theravadan Buddhism. So by the time I was 30, so you're looking at 15 years, you're looking at karma, you're looking at past karma actually coming up, and it's moving you in a particular direction. It's past conditioning. So you've got a connection, you've touched on these different areas, and it's drawing you in a particular direction in life. So 15 years, I ended up meditating, with in Theravadan monasteries, both in Australia and Thailand, and I just reached a point where I had to make a decision to stop work, go to the monastery, and basically get down to business. So, but the lifestyle itself, it suits my personality to a T. I'm really interested in meditation. I love living in the forest. I love wildlife. I love small creatures and animals, and I've got kangaroos bouncing past my window every morning and evening. So we don't have an incredible amount of wildlife in the monastery. Once I move across to Hermit's Hill, there should be a lot more of it. Big snakes and maybe the odd emu and rabbits and rats and other vermin and who knows, maybe what would you call them, echidnas and all the rest of these little guys running around in the forest. So, but it really just suited my character, and it's just the perfect life for me. It's just the perfect lifestyle. I've got a new opportunity to help other people out, with their personal practice, with their personal experience, maybe like family stuff, this and that. A little bit of helping hand, a little bit of counselling here and there, a bit of teaching. And so I really couldn't ask any more. It's as good as it gets. I was at home with Mum, and just taking care of business, this and that. I was responsible for absolutely everything from start to finish. And but with lay life, it's just not for me. just to the sense of freedom, just living in one's little kuti, one's double brick kuti in the forest. I'm right, I'll be right on the edge of the state forest, with the small creatures and very, very peaceful. And look, I'm not lazy. I'm quite happy to work on a daily basis, to go out and take care of business in the general community. But it's just a fantastic way to live. You're close to nature. You can go for walks in the forest. Every couple of days. You can watch the wildlife. You can go hunting. Be it like a what would you call it? Like a big white hunter, and go looking for big snakes and this and that. And for me, it just ticks all the boxes, and I really just wouldn't want to be doing anything else with my life. So the whole business, getting up early in the morning, the vast majority of us, it depends on the monk. Some of us are up at 2, 3, 4 a.m. And but the vast majority of people need absolute minimum. With meditation practice, most people need at least 5 hours. Upasana, I think, even cuts it down to about 4 sometimes. But most people need at least 5 to 6 to be able to function. And so you're up at, most people are up at 4, 4:30, and you're usually pushing to go to bed maybe about close to 11 or maybe even midnight. The one meal a day, you just make sure you don't undereat, you don't overeat, which tends to slow the person down. Reduces energy, increases sort of sluggishness, and you need to rest more. You need to, the more you eat, you need to rest more. You need to sleep more, because you've got a belly, a body which is taking in just too many calories, and which draws energy. Draws energy from the brain, from the internal organs. And the simple life, when I was home, I had to do the stuff I had to do was just over the top and just constantly. But when I got back, I got back to my hut, and just that sense of freedom and space. I had what did I have? I had my suitcase. I had one suitcase, and I got my laptop and my monk's bag, and that was it. And that was absolutely everything. That was, I took stuff. I took enough, because I knew I was going to be stuck at home for maybe months because of this, all the stuff I had to deal with. But yeah, I had enough gear when I went home. To last me for years. I could have, the stuff that I had, I could have stayed home for 5 years. I had enough robes, I had enough bits and pieces and this and that. And when I got back, I moved some of that stuff out really quick. I had to keep all my essential stuff, all my little monk's goodies, my toys. But all these things that I have, they're quite useful. I use them for specific things. But I moved out little bits and pieces and this and that. And there's not a lot left. There's that suitcase under the bed. There's my other little things that I like. But there's not much left. There's that suitcase under the bed. There's a few books on the bookshelf, and there's a few T-shirts and whatnot on the rack. My monk's bag, and there's not much left. So it just felt fantastic. That sense of freedom. Freedom from not having that house to look after, and shopping, and money, and accounts, and the banks, and just endless stuff. I couldn't get out of there fast enough. If I'd got caught up, I could have been stuck there if I really wanted to really wrap things up and do it properly. I would have been stuck there for another 3 months. I would have been out for till the end of Panza. So, Well, I wouldn't go over, when I'm in retreat, I wouldn't go over 5 hours under any circumstance, because I tend to get a lot of tension in the face, and there's absolutely nothing I can do to stop that. But the thing is, it's not so much the amount of hours, it's the quality of the practice, and I can get peaceful, quite quickly. It doesn't take me very long. But the thing is, if you want really deep peaceful samadhi, you've got to be sitting and walking for absolute minimum 2 to 3 hours at a stretch. And so for any of you guys who want to see really profound states of mind, you're looking at 2 or 3 hours at a stretch, walking and sitting. But these other little meditations that I mentioned, the one mantra per minute, like a modified, say, Burmese Satipatthana, maybe doing a labeling method, maybe every 5 seconds, every 10 seconds, that can work for people. But you've got to see what works for you. What kind of results you get as the days go by. And yeah, did that make any sense? Right. I have done 5 hours at a stretch, and if you're on personal retreat at Jhana Grove, or you're at home, we got one of the long-term practitioners, and when he's not working, he does absolute minimum 4 to 5 hours a day, and consistently. So. And that's very, very solid, and it's quite impressive actually, considering that. So he's doing 5 hours a day, and then that next day he has to go straight back to work for whatever, maybe whatever it is, another 5 to 7 days straight. Then he's back home, and he does his meditation retreats on his days off. So that that particular person, they're not playing around, and they're not wasting time at all. So. But you have to feel it out. Every single one of you have a certain amount of mental energy. So some of you guys, maybe after 3 hours, you're completely out of juice. You've got nothing left after that. That 3 hour stretch. But the thing is, I've done meditations where where it really starts to roll. The energy really starts to build. After, like 2 hours, it's really starting to, you're going up a gear. And then 3 hours, it just keeps building and building and building. 4 hours, and then maybe after 4.5 hours, it might slow down a little bit. But, people can get these kind of freak conditions where it's almost like awakening the kundalini, the energy, the rapture, the joy, just keeps flowing from the tantian. It's towards the base of the spine, below the belly button, and the energy just keeps flowing and flowing and flowing and flowing. For up to 5 hours, and after 5 hours, then that energy starts to dissipate, and for a fact that you're coming to an end, and you think to yourself, where is it coming from? Where is this energy coming from? So when you talk with Kundalini yoga practitioners who have a sense of expertise with this kind of chi, Kundalini, energetic kind of practices. I spoke with 2 Italian monks who were Kundalini yoga practitioners in Mapjan in Thailand, and these guys do 4 20-minute sessions a day, and they have a very specific routine, moving doing visualizations, moving the attention from one chakra, going up until you're at the center of the eye, the center of the crown, and until you supposedly absorb into full samadhi. So if you've been doing this for 1 or 2 lifetimes, you may get very, very good results. You may get very profound results, but you have to see what works for you in the long term. Okay? Yep. No problem at all. Lovely to have you all here. Okay. Mahakaruniko nato hitaya sabapanina Poretwa paramisa bapato sambodhimotama etena sajuvaje nohotute jayamangalang jayanto bodhiyamule sakayanam nandiwadeno evam tuvam vijaya hohi jaya sujaya mangale Aparajita palanke sise patawe pokare abhiseke sababodhana agapato pamodati sunakatam sumangala tupapatam suhotita sukano sumuhutu chasuyetam brahmachari supadakina Kaya kama vacha kama padakina mano kama panidite padakina nikatawana labantate padakine. Bless you all. Always glad to